Who wants to be a fantastic speaker? Excellent. I see the hands, but I don't hear the enthusiasm. Now, who wants to be an absolutely brilliant speaker? Yeah. Excellent. Fantastic. I have some good news and some bad news. The good news: anyone can become a great speaker. Quiet audience tonight. The bad news is everyone has to work really hard to do it. As they say, gain without pain. So my vision tonight is that all of you will grow to become fantastic speakers. And the mission that I'd like to impart to each and every one of you is that you will stretch. Everyone stand up, please. Okay, I'd like you to imagine you're holding a great big rubber band. Okay, now I want you all to go and stretch it. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Stretch. Excellent. Now let it go. And you can be seated now. I want every one of you to stretch yourselves. Now how do you do it? Well, that depends on where you are in the Toastmasters journey. And some of you here have never done a speech before up on stage. Now the first speech that you do is an introduction to yourself. And I remember when I first joined Toastmasters, my mentor said to me, your first speech is all about yourself, because it's a really, really easy topic. I have to say I didn't quite agree with them, because at the time I tried to put across a good impression, and I didn't really want the audience to know that I was an axe murderer on the run. So it was really, really hard for me to come up with the topic. And when I came up and delivered my first speech, I was absolutely terrified, and it was like this. My knees were shaking, and I was hanging on for dear life to the old lectern, and I was terrified. But I did it. I did my first speech, and that was probably the most hardest speech I have done. And I've done probably about 27 speeches since then. So for those of you who haven't done a speech yet, I challenge you, stretch yourself by coming up here and delivering your first speech. And I have to say myself personally, my first speech was absolutely terrible. It was a shocker. But at least I got up there and I did it. And once I had done my first speech, I was able to do more speeches. The next 9 speeches are all from the Communication and Leadership Manual. In each speech, I emphasise a different area, vocal variety, using visuals, and so forth. Now for those of you who are working for, my challenge to you, stretch yourself. Whenever you deliver a speech, take on board what your evaluator says, look at the criteria in the manual, and work really hard. Practice really, really hard at your speech. Practice in front of the mirror. Practice in front of the video. Practice in front of your mangy fleabag cat. But practice, 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 because practice does make perfect. And with each speech, you'll find yourself progressing, becoming a much better speaker with each speech you do. So I challenge you, stretch yourself by expanding yourself between every speech. Now for those of you who have completed the initial manual, you'll come on to the advanced manuals. And again, I challenge those of you who have done this and are doing the advanced manuals, stretch yourself again. Remember the first manual I did, the first advanced one, was the technical speeches one. Why? Because that was within my comfort zone. I love technical speeches. I'm a technical person. I'm a nerd. So it suited me perfectly. But that was sort of pretty much in my comfort zone. So I decided, now that I've done the the bronze level. I'm doing the silver level now. And what the manual I'm actually working through at the moment is the Persuasive Speaker Manual. It used to be called the Professional Salesperson. Now those of you who know me would know I'm an engineer, and I'm kind of like, oh yes, I am an engineer, I do not sell, I do not stoop down to that sort of level, oh yes. So why am I doing the sales manual? Because I'm tough, and I want to stretch myself. And it also happens to be, I run a business now. And for those of you who run businesses know that you actually spend most of your time selling things. So therefore I've actually found that manual extremely helpful, even though it's been an awfully big challenge. And I know there's a lot of manuals that I could have done that would have been a whole lot easier, but I've decided to stretch myself. Another manual I'm looking at doing is the storytelling one. Again, very, very different. Although I might have to say that storytelling does actually lead on from sales quite nicely, for those of you who work in the industry, you know what I mean. So, stretch yourself. If you haven't done a manual before, or haven't done any speeches, come up and deliver your first speech. Coming up here is the first major goal you'll do, and you'll be able to stretch yourself into new horizons. If you're working through the manual, improve yourself with every single speech. Stretch yourself. And if you're looking at doing some advanced manuals, don't pick the easy ones. Pick the hard ones. The ones that are going to stretch you. So ladies and gentlemen, what are we all going to do? Stretch. Excellent. And all of us are going to become fantastic speakers. Most excellent speakers. Brilliant speakers. Toastmaster.